The RV Show USA.
On our guest line is one of the smartest warriors representing RV owners who have purchased a Lemon RV. He's an RV Lemon lawyer and one of our most popular show guests. I see that, Ron, I see you are racking up a lot of airline miles lately, man.
Yeah, that's true.
Where you been? What you been doing?
I've been taking a lot of factory depositions. Matter of fact, I've got a chassis factory representative deposition in Friday, and then Monday I have to leave for Oregon for a deposition of a so-called factory expert witness in a case on Tuesday. I think I'd get home by the end of the week for some birthdays in the family, though.
I'm telling you, you are one hard-working dude. That's for sure. So, are there? Did you listen to the previous story? The one, the man that has the Class C that was seems to be overweight.
I caught that. Yes.
Any thoughts on it? You know, I don't. The story is he bought a Thor product. It's on a Ford chassis, F-350 chassis. He says that the thing weighs, I think he said 500 pounds more than Thor said that it was supposed to weigh, and he had some receipts or weigh tickets or something proving that, but it's so close to maxed out when he has fuel and water in it, he can't put his family in it because it's going to be overweight.
Yeah, and I've seen that more often now than I've ever seen it. 10 years ago, you'd have never seen anything like this. I don't know what happened since the recession back then, but, man, they're cutting corners left and right, I guess, and they've just decided to go with the cheaper chassis but put a heavier load on it from the box.
I don't understand, except, you know, from the outside, if you looked at that Freedom Elite, you wouldn't be able to tell if it had an F-350 chassis or an F-450 chassis underneath it. And the difference is 1,500 pounds, I believe, in carrying cargo weight. I mean, that's the difference between having a comfortable ride and a safe vehicle and having one you're like, oh, my gosh.
Oh, yeah, that's absolutely true. And the odd part of it is I've seen more Ford chassis that are overloaded in the last couple of years than I've seen any other kind. And it's almost always the 350 that's getting loaded up by the box. And I don't quite understand why, other than there must be an awful cheap price to the 350 that makes them want to use that in more different models.
Well, the people that I've talked to told me that there's a difference to the manufacturer, that Thor, whoever it is, will have to pay about $1,200, maybe $1,500 more for that 450 chassis. And the consumer doesn't know it. They just assume everything's going to be fine. So it's a way to cut $1,200, $1,500 off the price, and put it in their pocket. I don't know. I mean,
and you take that $1,500, that $1,200, even if it's only $1,000, but you take that and you multiply that by a whole lot of RVs, and you got a real nice bonus for somebody.
Yeah, you do. You know, it's these kinds of problems that people like you stay so busy, Ron Burge. What are there anything in particular you're seeing a lot of nowadays in terms of people with Lemon RVs and problems?
Well, the overweight chassis is a big issue going on right now with different manufacturers. It's not all limited to just Thor or any one manufacturer at all. Mm-hmm. So that's something I'm seeing a whole lot more of. And you're right, it's very hard to understand or detect that it's even going on, especially when you're buying it. If you don't look real careful, you believe the numbers you're being fed. So you have no reason to think that they're fudging anything anywhere. But clearly that is something that's happening right now.
But see, it seems like to me that it's not Ford's fault. I mean, they're selling just the naked chassis, and it's the people that put the box on it that put so much weight on this chassis that there's no way the chassis can handle it. So it's, I mean, you know, you're the lawyer, but it just seems to me it's not Ford's fault.
No, I totally agree with you. It is not Ford's fault. In fact, there are several items that are happening in the construction process for the box when it gets put on that actually are causing problems pretty uniformly, as opposed to coming out of Ford or whoever the chassis maker is in the first place. The second thing I've seen more of lately and heard more of as well is and particularly in C's, in the Class C's, where you've got the engine sitting under the box, so to speak, the doghouse, in the cab itself. And when it arrives, it's all insulated properly from the factory. But something I'm seeing more of nowadays is some of that insulation is getting stripped off in order to make the engine size, so to speak, get smaller when they put their doghouse and the cab on top of it, give the driver and passenger more legroom and all of that. But the problem is the engine has that insulation factor put in it on the factory in order to reduce the engine heat. And so what you end up with is some very high temperatures right in the area of that box where the engine is sitting in that cab.
I never even thought of that. So the so the manufacturer is. There's a reason the box is the way it is. The engineers at Ford, if they're designing it, there's a reason. It's that size. And when they go and you start monkeying around with that, eventually it's going to come out. It's going to manifest itself in some kind of problems.
Yeah, and I've seen it in a couple of different manufacturers that are using the C. And matter of fact, they're using the same C chassis, and they're both doing the same thing, the two I have in mind, where they're essentially stripping off some of that heat insulation. And the result is that box really gets hot. In fact, it gets to a point where if you held your finger on it, if it's one of the ones where the insulation has been stripped, your finger will heat up, and it will start to actually feel like you're burning in a matter of about 2 minutes. So you got to watch out for some of these.
What percentage? I say we talk about lemon RVs because I think there's too many of them. Most RVs are not lemons. They all have some kind of issues because they just do. They're RVs. But is the percentage of the lemon what is illegally a lemon? Is that percentage going up as time goes on? We see more and more of them.
From what I've seen, the answer to that question is yes, it is. And matter of fact, from deposition testimony, sworn testimony that I've gotten from several different RV manufacturer reps, the people in the warranty departments and dealers on both coasts and in the middle as well, and also from expert witnesses that the factories hire to defend them in these cases, they all are pretty much admitting that the RVs are bad coming out of the factory and that they're going to get bad sitting on the lot. And they fully expect that there's going to be more problems that will develop during the first year. It just seems to be the way they have come to accustom themselves to living, building it bad and putting up with it, which is probably why you only get a 1-year warranty.
I've heard some people say that, I don't know if they're serious or not. They say that for some of these manufacturers, they believe that it's cheaper to pay lawyers than it is to fix the problems.
Oh, I don't doubt that a bit. I have always said that they know their numbers. They know that if they got 10 people complaining about something, that if they continue to give them lip service, the odds are most of those people will give up, put up with it, or just go away, sell it, trade it off, do something, and no longer be a problem. And of those 2 or 3 people that hang around and argue some more, at the end of the day, if they go to a lawyer, they may end up with a probate lawyer instead of a lemon law lawyer. They may end up with a general practitioner, or they could end up with somebody who can't do as good a job as is needed, and the factories know which lawyers are the ones to watch out for and which ones aren't. And so they just sort of drag it all out, and they know that more people will give up, and at the end of the day, they save money by only paying anything substantial to those people who actually run the full length of the race.
I did a monologue last week talking about if you do go the legal route, it's not easy, it's not fun, it's not fast, it is going to be...
Yeah, I heard that.
Oh, you did? I mean, how...
Oh, I did.
But it's the truth.
I think there's a lot of truth to what you were saying, but at the same time, I think you're absolutely right that a very good first step is to call you and let the story get out, so that people who haven't bought yet or who are thinking of buying will understand what happened so that they can look out for the same problem. But at the end of the day, the fact of the matter is that if you do file a lawsuit, you're right, it's going to take time to go through the system. And the way it works, everybody knows the law is pretty much on the consumer's side. And everybody knows that the factory is going to drag it out as long as they can.
We have RV Lemon Lawyer and our resident badass, Mr. Ron Burge, on the phone with us. So Ron, did you see that post on Facebook about a week or 10 days ago about that couple that had the travel trailer out in California and they were entering the freeway or whatever? The thing brakes locked up and it flipped over?
I did.
What are your thoughts? It looked like a pretty new trailer.
It was, and I read a whole lot of the comments. It got a lot of comments by a lot of people, and I read a lot of those. Most people seem to think it was a factory problem and only a factory problem, but actually that's not entirely true. The law is pretty much the same everywhere, that a retail seller of something new is not allowed to sell something that is in dangerous condition, and it sure sounds like that one was in dangerous condition, even if they didn't know it when they were selling it at the dealership.
So when somebody has a situation like that, I guess it's time to start gathering your receipts, documenting, as you always say, because Murphy's Law will apply if you don't have everything. And go back to the dealer and see if they'll make you whole, and if they won't, then call Ron Burge maybe.
Complain like the dickens at the dealership, and also complain like the dickens to the bank or the lender who gave the loan and was set up by the dealer, unless you went and set up your own, in which event it's purely between you and the bank. But also complain to the factory. You got to complain everywhere you can to make it known. Also, file a complaint with your state attorney general, file a complaint with the local business bureau. The idea is you want to become the one that is so irritating to them that they want you to go away so they can get back to sloughing off the other people who aren't sticking out the complaining.
But take the high road and do it in a classy way.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's a right way to complain and a wrong way. The wrong way just rubs them raw and doesn't do you any good at all.
It may feel good, but it doesn't do you, like you said, doesn't do any good. All right, so it is time for March Madness, and I know that you had a little analogy here about basketball and the RV industry. You want to tell us what you're talking about?
Yeah. Matter of fact, I think that there's a lot of similarities between the way warranties work and also March Madness, and warranties can drive you mad too, by the way. The problem, I think, is that the warranties themselves, they have become, for new RVs, they have become a process where they are throwing hoops in front of you that you've got to go through before you get a chance to really try to make a slam dunk out of what's going on with your story. When you look at a warranty nowadays, these RV company warranties actually take away more legal rights than they give you. And you would have more legal rights if you bought a brand new RV and you didn't get one of their written warranties, because those written warranties just, quite frankly, are doing nothing but throwing hoops in front of you that you got to jump through. And you have to go through the big dance before you ever get a chance to actually avoid the busted bracket they're trying to hit you with.
But most people don't read their warranty. They just assume it's like on their new Ford pickup truck, and it's only when they have a problem when they read it and they realize it's one of those things why we talk about education, why education is so important.
Absolutely. In fact, what I've seen in most situations, in fact, I took a deposition of a large California dealership just about 10 days ago. And he was explaining exactly how they have people sign paperwork. They don't show them the warranty. They don't even tell them where it is. It's out in the RV in some box stashed away in one of the cabinets, ready for you to figure out where it is when you drive home. But when you're signing all the paperwork, that's when you're locking in your legal rights. And one of those pieces of paper that I see in a lot of deals is where the dealer has you sign something, often called a warranty registration, that says that you've actually gotten the warranty and you've read the warranty and it's okay with you. Well, that problem comes back to haunt you if you end up with a lemon, because those warranties also say a whole lot of things about what you got to do that nobody thinks about doing when you got a bad RV.
Oh, there's just so much to it. You know, all people want to do is have a good time and go out and enjoy themselves and their family and the outdoors, and it seems to be getting more and more difficult. But for people who may be considering filing a lawsuit against a dealer or a manufacturer, what's the short story? What lies ahead for them financially, finding a lawyer, having a case? What time-wise, percentage of what I'm going to get if I do file a claim? Any general guidelines you can give?
The RV industry is so unique from manufacturer to manufacturer that there aren't a whole lot of guidelines on what you're going to get out of it. The one general rule I can tell you is that the longer you stick out fighting for what is right, the more likely you're going to end up coming out ahead at the end of the day. But the reality is you got to stick out going through the legal process, and you have to prepare before you ever get to that point. How long it would take to go through the court system? Typically, you're going to see if you were to file a lawsuit, let's say on January 1, if you were to file a lawsuit on January 1, there's not going to be any serious talk about settlement for probably 3 months, maybe 4. And even then, they're going to offer you a repair approach right off the bat, which, by the way, is its own unique set of problems when you go that route. But after that, if you don't take it, then they'll up the ante and offer you some cash along with the repair. Then they'll offer you the extended warranty along with the repair. And if you're still not biting off on it, then eventually they'll get around to the idea of talking about a replacement. All of those things are the cheapest route. They don't get to the most expensive thing, which is buying it back and giving you back your money, until the very end. So the people who stick it out are the ones who come out ahead.
Let's talk a little bit real quickly to wrap it up about your website, RVLemonLaw.com. What a terrific resource for every RVer. Tell us about it.
Well, thank you. Well, I started that website, gosh, a long, long time ago. The Internet was younger, and so was I. But basically we try to put as much information on there as we can. We've got the name and address, phone and fax, and sometimes emails for the people at most of the factories. So if you want to complain, you got a specific place you can go to find that without having to dig around. A lot of that they don't put in their warranty booklets. Also, we've got on there definitions of what lemon laws in all states cover. In most states, they don't cover RVs. In some states, they cover the chassis, but not the box. So you have to really understand what your rights are as well. But there's a whole lot of information that can help people figure it out for themselves. And if they can't figure it out and they need help, well, our number's there too. Yep,
and it's RVLemonLaw.com. You know, I mentioned on the show whenever I can that we do not receive any kind of compensation of any kind from you. This is not an advertisement. It's not an endorsement. I view it more as a public service, and I think what you do, Ron, is so important. I really do.
There are not enough lawyers out there who do this kind of work. That is a real fundamental problem. There's only a few of us that really do a whole lot of this, and I don't know of anybody else who does it full time, frankly. But the real problem is that there are more bad RVs than there are lawyers to help people deal with them.
A lot of lawyers, not a whole lot of RV lawyers.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Burge, we're up against the clock as always. Thank you for being with us and for everything you do.
Well, thank you, Alan. Good to talk to you.
All right, likewise. You keep up the good fight. That's our buddy Ron Burge. He is one smart dude for sure. And believe me, he is a great guy to have on your side in your corner. His website, again, is RVLemonLaw.com. It is a terrific source of all kinds of info for the consumer. Again, RVLemonLaw, put it all together.com.
Hi, this is Goose from the RV Show USA, and these are today's winners to ensure you get your $50 gift card. Make sure you send an email to info@thervshowusa.com. And if you would like to enter to win a $50 gift card of your very own, head over to thervshowusa.com and sign up for our email list. And if you like this video and would like to see more, make sure you hit the subscribe button. It's right over there. And turn on the notifications so you will be notified whenever a new video comes out for the RV Show USA. And as always, thank you for watching.